Hey, how's it going everyone? Craig here from Soundiron, and in today's video we're going to be doing a little in action showing you how our new voltage bass works in the context of like a rock or a heavy rock, sort of a little metal, but mainly kind of more hard rock style. And this is going to be using voltage bass along with some programmed drums and programmed guitars, which is going to be our Axe Machina. So let's go ahead, check out the track, and then I'll show you guys how I wrote it. All right, so that's the track. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward rock and metal sort of track. And for this one, I just wanted to see how voltage bass would work in sort of this kind of style along with Axe Machina, because Axe Machina is a full-on sort of riffing metal machine, and voltage bass has a unique sound of its own. So I wanted to hear how they sounded together and sort of showcase voltage bass in a little bit more of this style. So let's just go ahead and start breaking it down. So first, it all basically started with this sort of intro riff. I had this riff in my head, and I was actually thinking about doing a demo like this for Axe Machina just to kind of show it how it would work in that kind of context. So I'm gonna just go ahead and solo the guitars. Let's go ahead and check this out. And all this is really doing is just some power chords and some of these percussive mutes. So these are some other articulations. If you look down here in the green, you have these other mutes and different sort of slides. You know, and these are great for just adding a little bit of that realism when it comes to, you know, more guitar type stuff. And then one of the things you will notice when it starts playing, down here, when it's playing, it's only using the yellow keys, and that's because I singled it out on a single string. Because if I didn't do that, it might be not necessarily playing it how I would on guitar. So by being able to lock these strings so you can see only this string is highlighted. So it allows me to get a little bit more of an accurate sound of how I would want the guitar to be as if I was recording it. Now let's go ahead and check this out in context with voltage bass. So I'm going to go ahead and solo voltage bass. Let's listen to these two together. You can already hear voltage bass adds so much to that low end and really helps fill out the mix. So I'm going to go ahead and solo voltage bass, and right here you can see that I'm using an amp sim, and this is just, you know, some real simple single knob. This is from Bogren Digital, I believe. This is just like a quick little easy way to just kind of reamp. So if I go ahead and bypass this, you'll hear it's just the DI. And then I have a little bit of EQ on here as well, just kind of filtering out some of the low end and doing a little bit of shaping, but nothing too much. The cool thing about having the DI is that it allows you to use any of your own favorite amp sims. So let's go ahead and turn this back on. Now let's go ahead and hear it in the mix again. So you can see without that bass, just the mix just kind of falls apart and it starts to sound weak. So one of the other cool things that I thought would be fun for this track is to see how Axe Machina would sound kind of using it in more of a lead way. So most of the time you've probably seen this in kind of more of a rhythm aspect, but you can use it for leads. So let's go ahead and check this out. I'm going to go ahead and load this up. And one of the things I did with this lead track was I programmed in some of these different little effects articulations as well, just to add a little bit of realism. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the MIDI, and you can see up here all these little MIDI notes that I plugged in, they're just basically adding in this rake sound, because when you're playing lead guitar, sometimes you like to just kind of rake into a note. I got inspired by this learning early Metallica growing up as a kid, so it's just kind of like a real cool way to kind of add a little bit more expression into your leads rather than just picking a note and bending it. You're kind of adding a little bit of swagger to it. So you hear that kind of sound. And with this, I have a different tone. So for the Axe Machina rhythm tone, I'm using the Gojira from Neural DSP. I just love this amp sim, it sounds great. And you can hear that if I turn this off and then solo the Axe Machina, just DI. But then you kick on the Neural DSP Gojira, just a super thick, high gain metal tone. I just love it. So let's go ahead and check out what I used for the lead guitar. So I used a different amp sim for the lead guitar. I wanted to have a little bit of a tone that contrasted that. So I used an instance of the Neural DSP Petrucci. I'm a huge Dream Theater fan. John Petrucci is one of my favorite guitar players. So if you're going to try and get a smooth lead tone, might as well use this. So I'm also using this wah as well. I've done this before on another Soundiron session, and it's just a really cool way. And I feel like with this kind of style, it's a really cool way to add that sort of hard rock sound with just having a wah in there. So, and I actually automated a lot of the different wah movements as well. I just set it to right, and then I just kind of played around with it, just kind of dragging up and down as I felt I would use the wah pedal in that context. So let's go ahead and solo just the lead guitar. I'm gonna move up here a little bit more on the timeline and then show you the MIDI, and then let's go ahead and check it out. And you can see it's using a lot of the pitch wheel, because when you're doing that kind of stuff, if you're going, and I just love that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of the pitch wheel because, you know, when you're doing lead guitar, you like to throw in some bends or some little pre-bends and stuff like that. And if we go up here, you can see where these little rakes are coming in. So and then on this big last bend, and that kind of stuff is just really cool. I love that sort of stuff. That's the kind of stuff I would probably play in. And then, yeah, that's pretty much creating a real straightforward, heavy sort of rock type cue using only virtual instruments. So if you'd like to learn more about Voltage Bass or Axe Machina, make sure to go over to soundiron.com to check them out and learn more. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe to stay up to date on future videos like these, and we will catch you in the next one. See ya.